And here we are. We are live, and we are live with Noosh, and this is Noosh Bits. So Noosh is going to have a show every Friday on our channel, and you are more than welcome to join us. And in a couple of weeks, it's going to be live. So as she does something called the human fabric, you will be actually able to be part of the human fabric, which means you will help develop the story and take the story from A to Z. But today, Noosh is going to tell us about her inspirations. She's also going to tell us how she wants to do the human fabric. For you people that wonder why I'm the guy talking and not David, first of all, New York. Second of all, David had to go to a funeral, not his, so we're happy about that. So David will be back with us next week. But today it's just Noosh and I, and Noosh really just reads. So I just sit here and look pretty. No comments, please. So Noosh, it's all you, my dear. I see that. I see that face. So,
You
so
do.
I saw that
Well,
face.
you
I
know
mean,
me and the faces.
that's right. This is the Noosh with the face. So Noosh is going to be reading, and I'm going to shut up now and let her do her thing.
So, one of the things of my inspiration, hello everybody, I do love tiny things. So, I do have an affinity somehow
Hey, now
with
that explains Michael. Stop that. So,
I mean, yes, exactly. See?
yeah,
I
that,
don't know. Always tiny, but with a big heart.
very true.
But so it
Very
was
true.
always much easier for me to do things or learn. Like this, for example, is an Italian and French dictionary, and I have all of my little languages dictionary, and they're all tiny because I don't know why. Like I find a way to learn faster or better when it's really tiny. It doesn't maybe in my mind it seems like it's not such a big endeavor. So here's the Italian language, so I can manage to learn it. So midget series. I mean, well, this is from like a century ago. So I'm probably learning a bunch of words that nobody uses anymore, which is fun. Let's see. Is there a good one right now? Stolginato. Luscious. Very nice. Do you speak Italian, Steven? Or do you know any little bit of Italian?
You're lucky I speak English.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, this is
So
all
today
you.
is November 11th. So a lot of things are happening today. 11th is always a big day for me. I do a mini celebration every first of the month and every 11th. But the biggest, I guess, news for me and for all of you is this book. So this
We're
has
gonna do
been
it.
my
I have to
Bible
let me zoom
of
in on you now.
sorts for the last 20 years. So
Sure.
it's the Encyclopedia of Relative and Absolute Knowledge by Bernard Werber, who I met through his science fiction books. But when I found this book, I thought that I mean, I mostly read the Encyclopedia of Absolute Knowledge, and the relative. I mean, relativity in my mind is kind of tangible. So yesterday, when I was looking him up before bringing him to you today, because he basically has the most incongruous and amazing stories. Every story is about 1 to 2 pages, and it's from geography, history, mythology, recipes, curiosities, anecdotes that he just piled together because he. I mean, every time that he would hear or read something, he just put it in his little encyclopedia. But yesterday, while I was reading through some of his of some articles that were about him, most of them surlines, I mean underlines that he's a science fiction writer. So I have been preaching so much of his information to the world as facts. And I realized yesterday that a lot of it is science fiction. For example, I've been saying for the last 20 years that ants have the most wonderful monarchy of all, which he talks about. You have a queen, and then the whole rest of the ants are separated in three equally distributed parts: the workers, the warriors, and the artists. The workers that work, obviously, the warriors that defend the place, and artists that just wander around in all the little tunnels that they made, and then they make holes sometime, like like half of the city falls, and it doesn't matter because there's the workers. They're here to indulge the artists, and they help them out, and they fix all the mess that the artists do. And yesterday, that lovely dream of mine just clashed because it's absolutely not true. Ants, there's a queen, the workers, and the males. So basically, it's like a high patriarchy over there. So not at all the beautiful dream I had for many years. So
The shattering
yes,
of a little girl's dream. I feel very,
I
very,
know.
very
Oh my
bad
God.
now.
So
That's
it
like
was very
terrible.
hard for me to sleep yesterday.
Oh
So I
my
did a bunch
God.
of research on some of the facts that he writes, and a lot of, I mean, so far only one was not really true. But I could
Okay.
have guessed that because it was 1 + 1 = 3. So it's an idea that he explains.
However,
But
if there's some people that say 2 + 2 = 5, and there's a guy who has a video that explains it, and it doesn't make any sense, but people that also think the world is flat. So just keep that in mind.
2 + 2 = 5. I wonder if he knows Bernard.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he knows a lot of people. So this is interesting. So you've been disputing fictional as non-fictional, and now you realize that the world isn't as you know it. It is round, and the moon isn't made out of cheese. So are
I
you
mean,
okay?
it's crazy because I had this book since I was, yeah, I think since I was 15.
Okay.
Is that possible? Let me see. When did he publish this?
Uh-oh.
Uh, when did you publish this, my dear? Oh, 209. So not as
Okay.
long. Or maybe it's just the edition. 209. What are we? 22?
Hmm.
Well, I feel it's been longer than this. Maybe not. But anyway, it feels that it's been in my life forever, and I abide by his wisdom for as long as this book has been in my hands. But I'd
Nice.
like to read you. I mean, it's not in English. I actually looked. He only has the Ants science fiction book that has been translated in English. Everything
Hmm.
else is in French.
Okay.
But there is a couple interesting bits that I would like to translate to you.
Okay. Now the nice thing in French is
One.
you could swear to somebody in French and they think it's romantic.
Well, not my style. At least not in the morning.
Then it's like
But
give me a cup of coffee. Would you like to read that? Would you like to translate for us?
I'm gonna read this one in French and then I'll translate it for you because it's very short. And this bit actually, I quote him in the opening of my book that I started writing a few years ago
Right.
about modern anthropology and social behaviors with an emphasis on perception through linguistics. And
Nice.
the thesis is the subversive incidence of the shadows of your thoughts. And what I mean by this is that language, me speaking of you, beauty and pain, we do have a definition of that in the
Right.
dictionary. But then, depending on what you live, it has, it's like slight nuances. And then,
Right.
depending on your culture, it can mean also, like different depths and different levels
Right.
from just the raw definition. And what I mean by the subversive shadows of your thoughts is that when we're born, we kind of as a camera with no filters, and then you have the filter of the education, the parents, the experiences, and all of that, and the language that which you're born into. And I'm trying to take those filters little by little out, so then you're back to the initial camera, but
Right.
with a wider understanding, like a
A
more
wider lens.
universal and intuitive understanding of the many layers and depths of our humanity. But
Right.
anyway,
Well,
that's a little deep for
but
now
wait,
for the
let me
morning.
ask
But
you,
I
let me
do
ask,
open this
wait, wait,
book with
wait, wait,
that.
wait, wait. Let me ask you this question before you start reading. So that's kind of what you're going to do with the human fabric, right? When you start writing
I mean,
live.
kind of. To be honest, yeah,
Okay.
it does come back to that more
Okay.
interestingly. But the human fabric, I want to do it more as a. I mean, actually, I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Like a social
We'll see where
experiment.
it goes.
So
Mm.
what we have to do is we do these on Friday mornings and we put your
Yes.
interviews right after they go live out. But there's going to be a
Hmm.
Friday where you're actually going to be live, where people can actually type and ask you questions and stuff. So you're gonna like next Friday, we're gonna have to tell the world when the Noosh Bits is going to be live every Friday then on Two Old Farts.
Yes.
On Two Old Farts. So you have to think through that because then people will be like, "Ooh, we can be involved on a weekly basis."
Absolutely.
So.
No, it's very exciting, and I'll have a lot of different props so that I get as many people and as many different ideas as possible
Very
to
cool.
get everybody buzzing.
I like that. All right, I'm gonna let you read. I'm gonna shut
So,
up
all
and just
right,
sit here and
yeah,
look
let's go
pretty.
back to my little Weber. So I'll first read it in French and then we'll read it. I'll translate it in English. Entre nous, entre ce que je pense, ce que je veux dire, ce que je crois dire, ce que je dis, ce que vous avez envie d'entendre, ce que vous croyez entendre, ce que vous entendez, ce que vous avez envie de comprendre, ce que vous croyez comprendre, ce que vous comprenez. Il y a 10 possibilités qu'on ait des difficultés à communiquer, mais essayons quand même. All right. Between what I think, what I want to say, what I think I'm saying, and what I'm actually saying. What you want to hear, what you think you're hearing, and what you actually hear. What you want to understand, what you think you're understanding, and what you actually understand. There are 10 possibilities that we'll have difficulties to communicate, but let's try anyway. Isn't that amazing?
That is very cool. I like that. That's very nice.
Right?
Yeah.
It resonates
You
so
don't,
much
it does, but
because
people
we
don't
all live
stop,
in
take
our
the time
little,
to
you know,
think.
like in our own little world. So to
Right.
really try to understand someone, especially with, I mean, we do have the tool of language, but it's so limited at times, and especially in a country of immigrants where, again,
Right.
going back to what I was saying, you know, depending on the culture, different words mean different levels of
Things.
things. So it's
Yeah.
just such a, always has been such a fascinating subject for me.
I like that. Well, being a
So,
linguist is great because it's just not that, it's just how you use the vernacular too. And the origin of words is also very interesting, I find.
so let me see. So there's another one. Oh yes, hold on. This one is good. Let me see where it is. It's about the la symbolique des chiffres, the symbolism of numbers. Ah, there it is. That's a really good one. I've been saying this across the globe for many moons. So I'll just do it straight in English. The adventure of the consciousness follows the symbolic of numbers, which were invented 3,000 years ago by Indians. I mean, Native Americans.
But wait. That wouldn't be true. That wouldn't really be true.
Yeah,
Numbers
right.
weren't
That sounds
invented.
not true now.
Yeah,
That's
that's not
impossible.
true. That's not true. It's just FYI. So,
All
but
right.
that's okay.
No,
It's
I
still
know.
good.
As soon as I read, I was like, when was it invented? The numbers.
Well, it depends.
Do you know?
It kind of depends on who you're talking to. If you're going to go back to modern history, you're going to the Mesopotamians. You're going back
Okay.
10 to 13, 15,000 years ago. If you believe that there's been people on the planet longer than that, like millions and millions of years and whatnot, the numbers were created probably billions of years ago. And so I don't think you'll ever know who, but for this generation or this iteration of human beings,
This era.
they'll probably go back to Mesopotamia. Yeah, that Mesopotamia is probably the very first where they probably did something with numbers. And then from there, like I said, if you believe that people lived, which I kind of do, that we go back millions and billions of years, that's just probably numbers further back. And if you believe in other life forms and all this other stuff, then who knows how old numbers are, if you will.
So I remember I watched, no, I mean, fairly recently, a documentary about that actually where they explained that the first numbers that were used to record the deaths back in, I forget when, but they were basically the first accountants because they were accounting to the deaths for
Right.
population. I don't know why they would pick that to count the first thing, but yeah. But I guess, I mean, we
Like I
always
said,
needed numbers. Even as soon as we became sedentary, you know, how many sheep you have? You need to count them so that you
Well,
know
you
the
live in
ones
New
missing,
Zealand.
right?
If you live in New Zealand, you need to know how many sheep you have for a lot of reasons.
No.
So, it's true. So I think it's true. I read it in a book. I think the book you're reading. So no, but it's just one of those things. I think you have to, it's history. You have to, I think, expand on what history really is, because I don't think it's what we think it is anymore. I think, you know what I mean? Like we say, this is what we believe it to be true today. But I think if you start looking at things, I think you realize history isn't what we think it is anymore. I think history
So
is
it's funny you
constantly
mentioned
changing.
that. We watched a documentary recently where they explain history, but not only history. For example, it was focused on Christopher Columbus and how he ended up here, trying to go faster to India. But they explain it not only the way that it happened, but why they stayed there because of how the planet was formed and all the metals that got into our planet. I'll send you the link because I'm terrible at explaining all of this because it's basically the Big Bang, our planet, history, and then
Well,
with
see,
a
the
few
Big
other
Bang
things. So it's
also
basically
nobody
some basic
knows.
history. It's
Right,
not
but
just
the problem
history.
with
It's many
the
different
problem with the big
levels, geology.
the,
So I'll
the
send it to
problem
you.
with
I
the Big
forgot from
Bang,
which thing it
the
was.
problem with the Big Bang theory, if you will, is nobody knows nobody was there. It's like they have the string theory, they have this theory, they have all these
Yeah,
theories, and the problem
they're all theories.
is nobody and nobody right nobody who's ever been there can tell me. And so I always ask
We
this
can't.
question to people when they start talking about creation. I'm like, that's awesome, but there had to
Mm,
be a point of zero, really -1. So -1 is the first whatever that was here. And then from
mm,
-1, you have zero and all these, then one, two, three, whatever. So somewhere
mm,
there's the very, 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 very beginning of
mm,
whatever this all is. And then there's where we are today. And I have a hard time with the Big Bang. I have a hard time with everything. As one of my friends used to say to me, he says, we're all going to die. We're going to meet a little green alien. He's going to go, you're a science project, leave me alone. And
mm.
that's the joke. But it's in a way, it's like that's just as plausible as the old guy with the beard in the sky. And then if you go
Yeah.
back to Egypt, and if you go back to the Greeks, and if you go back to like I've read the Book of the Dead, which is fascinating. But if you read the
Mm,
Book of the Dead, and you read all these creation stories from Mesopotamia and this and that, they're all kind of the same. They all have this. They all have some history like that
mm,
ties. If you read Greek mythology, they had gods. So who's to say
mm.
their gods are just people that are older than us, so to speak, as in civilization
Yeah,
that have technology far advanced than ours. So that's why I
it's
have
very
issues with
possible.
people when they're all like, "What about this and what about that?" I'm like, nah, not so much. So I don't think we know.
I mean, I feel that, I mean, we have such a finite sense of life. We're born and then we die, and I don't think that we can really comprehend the universe. It's not given to us because we're such a finite species. I mean, we just saw we do geology on geology, chemistry, and the universe is our theme for Tuesday talks. So last Tuesday when we
But
were setting up. Oh, the internet, by the way, I have Wi-Fi in the whole space, so I can give you a tour next week much better than I did
oh, I'm
last time.
excited. Very cool.
Uh, but we were looking at black holes and this new galaxy that they found. I don't 11 was it 11 billions light away. I mean, I can't even understand this. Like, it's probably dead. I mean, it's dead by now,
But
right?
but
But
or
it's
is
just
it?
those
We don't
those
know. Once again,
concepts of
you don't know if it's dead. That's the whole problem. That's why when people go, "There's no aliens, there's no other life forms," I'm like, you are the most closed-minded person in the universe. Because if you think that this is it, this is what the best the universe can make, we're fucked.
mm,
Like human species, we suck. Point blank, we got nothing. Now I'm a
we're like
Tesla and guys like
viruses.
that. Yeah, yeah, right. So, but my point is, it's like if we want to if you want to have a I truly
Mm,
believe there's something else out there. Whether I ever see it in my lifetime, I don't know, but we're getting
yeah.
closer and closer and closer to it. And whether it's like, listen, I don't care if they live in the middle of the planet, I don't care if they live on the moon, I don't care if they live in the sun,
Mm.
I don't care. I think there's a bigger picture and a bigger universe than we'll ever know, and I'm sure
I mean,
sometimes
the
scientists have
universe
a
is
clue.
way too big for it just to
Yeah,
be us. I mean, it just
yeah,
doesn't. I mean, it's hard to imagine that. I mean, it's very egocentric to think that
yes,
we're the only one in the middle of this expanding universe that we can't even measure. We only have kind of theories that so far make sense to
right,
us.
and they
I
don't
always
even make
love. Do you
sense. In
remember
fact,
the ending of Men in Black, where
yes,
it zooms
the
out of the
marbles,
planet
the
and then this
marbles.
the
Yep,
galaxy and then it's many galaxies and then
yep.
it's basically a weird creature playing with
Playing
marbles.
marbles. Yeah, I loved it. I thought that was great. But that's
Yeah.
the thing. People don't think through that, right? They're just like they. I can say this to my stepson all the time. His teacher tells him
Mm,
something. I go, "That's wrong. Did you ask her or him why they said that?" And he'll be like, "Well, I'm like, you have to debate. If
mm,
they tell you you can't, you're in the wrong school." I said, "You need to
mm.
debate everything. You need to. If something doesn't
I
sound right,
mean,
you need to
that was
question and go,
the
why is
Socrates
this?"
method, right? Was it
Mhm.
Socrates or Plato? La rhétorique, questioneering.
Yep.
Like, you always. You don't take anything. I mean, some
For
things, right? The
granted.
sun shines. Like you can't
Right.
really argue that. But some
Well,
things, you know.
you can there's a guy that has this does quantum theory now with it's had the Thursday hypothesis, which is every day is Thursday. And it
Mm,
just you don't know that this you just wake up and it's your Thursday and this is what happens. There's some scientists now say we live in a matrix. There's some science so they don't know. And I think what's happening as we get this technology and more technology, people are trying to figure out who and what we are. Like your show,
mm,
The Human Fabric, that we'll be doing in the next couple of weeks. Oh, what a plug. I'm so smart. Anyway,
mm.
but I think they don't know. So they to make themselves feel at ease, they have to come up with these different hypotheses. And whether they're right or wrong, they're just
That's exactly what
hypotheses.
I told Michael. I was
Yeah.
like, well, how do we know this is true? I can't
Right.
comprehend it. Maybe I don't know. They found a system and it feels good to stay within the system. What do we know? I mean, not that long ago, we thought that the planet was in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
That was not
Well,
long ago.
that was 500
And now
years
that
ago.
actually, wait, I think somebody who told me that actually the Big Bang now it was not the Big Bang. Apparently, I forgot. Was it last
Well,
week?
you got the
Somebody
string
mentioned
theory.
that.
You
So
got the
like a
right.
science.
Yeah, but they
I don't
change it all
remember
the
what.
time because you got the string theory, the Big Bang theory, you got all these other theories. So at the end of the day, and
And
all
then
their
quantum
theories, none of
physics.
them,
That's like a whole
right.
other beast with their
Oh,
qubits and the
I love
entanglement.
yeah, I love quantum physics because and quantum mathematics because if nothing makes sense, you just throw it in there and all of a sudden it'll make sense. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. We can make up stuff. So, but
I
and
mean,
my point is to
actually, so
everybody,
my mom, I don't know why, I think her friend sent her some information. My mom researches, I mean, she writes, like, she takes notes all day long. Like, she's
right?
the most, one of the most interesting people I know. And now, this week, she came back to me, and she's all about quantum physics now. And 2 days after that, she's making a, usually she makes breakfast.
Right,
That's
right.
her meal of the day. And, and I see her, she's all wired, and she tells me, my God, quantum entanglement is actually intuition. I'm like, what? So I have a little quantum gnome now, like a Jewish gnome that is all
Oh my God,
about
they're the
quantum
worst
physics
gnomes.
now. I'm sorry?
The Jewish gnomes are the worst gnomes because I've had the grandmothers, the mother. Are you kidding? And then you get the Jewish
Yeah.
guilt. So if you don't believe in this quantum entanglement now, they'll be like, "What? You don't
Oh
believe
my
it? Why don't
goodness,
you believe
yes.
it?
No,
Are you
absolutely.
smarter than
Absolutely.
Einstein? Oh, you're Mrs. Smarty Pants. Oh yeah, we got all this. We go through it. People that are not Jewish or members of the tribe or landsmen, if you will, they're not going to get it.
Hmm.
Italians will get it. Asians will
Yeah,
get it. But
Italians will
anybody
get it.
else,
That's true.
no. And the Asians will get it because the Asians are the same. But really, anybody else is going to be like, "What are they talking about?" But yeah, so
Yeah,
if
what
you're
are you
not a member
talking
of the
about? They don't
tribe,
understand it. That's
that's
true.
right. Grandmas, moms, everybody's like, "You're smarter than so and so." So it's.
Mm.
I always thought that'd be
I
cool
only
if you
have
were
the mom,
Einstein
so
as
it's
a kid.
manageable. But God, she's a pistol. My goodness. God bless her. But yeah,
That's
hold on.
awesome.
Let me go back to, okay, the symbolic
To
of
reading,
numbers. Yes, so right. So the adventure of consciousness does not follow the symbolic of, I mean, does follow the symbolic of numbers, which was not invented 3,000 years by the Indians.
very good.
Um, all right, but so the curve represents love, the cross represents crossroads, and the horizontal line represents attachment. So let's examine the drawings. Number one, the mineral, a pure, straight, vertical line. No attachment, no love, no crossroads. The mineral has no consciousness, no consciousness. He's just Are you here? Can you hear me?
I'm here. Yes, I can hear
Can you
you.
hear
We
me?
lost Noosh for a second, everybody. Yes, I can hear
Oh
you.
man, can you thumbs up for me? All
We can
right.
hear you.
I can't hear you though. God.
Oh, we lost the Noosh again, everybody.
Let me see. Hold on a second. Audio.
This is what happens.
Shoot.
Somebody called. Somebody
All right,
called the
I'm coming
Noosh.
back. I'm just gonna continue reading and check on you.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I don't even know where it's ringing from. I need technical assistance. I don't even know what that ring is. All right, we'll just continue. I'm so sorry
There you go.
about my snafus. All right, so we went through the mineral. Is the first state matter? Then number 2, the vegetal. One horizontal line that is mounted by a curve. The vegetal is attached to the earth by his horizontal bar, symbolizing his roots that don't let him move. And he loves the sky and presents his leaves and flowers to, to catch all its light. The animal, 2 curves. The animal loves the earth and loves the sky, but is not attached to either. He is emotion, fear, and desire. The 2 curves are the 2 mouths, the one that bites and the one that kisses. Number 4, the human. It's a cross. He is at a crossroad between the 3 and the 5. The 4 is the moment of the l'épreuve, of the test. Either he evolves to become a sage in the 5, or he returns to the animal state of the 3. Number 5, the conscious man. He is the opposite of 2. He is attached to the sky by his horizontal superior line, and he loves the earth with his lower curve. He is a sage. He has transcended his animalistic nature. He took distance from events that are surrounding him and does not react instinctively or emotionally anymore. He won over his fear and his desire. He loves his planet and all his inhabitants while observing them from afar. Number 6, the angel. The lit soul that is liberated from needing to be reborn in the flesh. She is out of the cycle of reincarnation and is now pure spirit that does not feel the pain, neither has any elementary needs. The angel is a curve of love, a pure spiral that starts at the heart, then goes to the earth to help all living creatures over there to achieve the curve of love towards the sky to get to the next higher dimension. Then 7, the God or the student God. The angel, while keeping rising himself, touches the next higher dimension. Just as the 5, there is a bar that is attached to the sky. But instead of presenting a curve of love to the bottom, this is a line. Il agit sur le monde d'en-bas. He acts on the world below him. The 7 is here once again like a 4, but backwards. This is a test, a crossroad. He needs to réussir. He needs to, wow, that's an easy word though. Well, he needs to achieve. He needs to achieve something to be able to rise. So yeah, so that's the symbolic of numbers, which I've read and translated in many languages across people.
Very cool.
Like
I know you.
if I can hear
I
you.
love it. I love it. I love it. You can't hear me, can you? But I loved it. It was very good.
Talks with the public. Yes.
Read more. Read more. We liked it. We liked it. We loved it. All
Are you
good.
here? Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I'm here.
All
All
good.
right. Can we do the
Yeah.
next one?
Keep. Do the next
All right.
one. Do the next one.
So I have 2 more. I'm gonna start with the beginning of a French book that I started the night of the moon eclipse, the blood moon eclipse that was here recently. we have this beautiful sculpture park right behind me, which is about 2 minute drive. So I go there on the hill, right at the top to write a lot. And that night was yeah, the full moon rising after the blood eclipse that I hope some of you saw, because it was quite something. It's actually my first one at last, because every other time the weather was terrible and I couldn't see anything. So so this will be the French bit, and then I'll be reading something, the first thing that I wrote when I came to this country 16 years ago. All right. So the name of this book is En bonne et due forme. Tout a commencé lorsque l'homme regarda la femme d'un regard inconnu jusqu'à ce jour. Ce jour-là, Michel s'était endormi la veille en ensevelissant pour la première fois toutes ses peurs, ses craintes, le laissant pour la première fois seul à lui-même, sans les gênes ruminantes de nos pensées assourdies. Assoupi même. Et oui, combien de fois s'était-il retrouvé sur son coussin bienveillant, éreinté de multitudes de pensées insaisissables, inaudibles, mais bien présentes, même aussi tranchantes qu'un fouet claquant dans l'air. Il s'est senti pour la première fois comme une feuille d'érable, enfin détachée de son arbre et flottant dans l'air, virevoltant exactement comme le vent décide de la guider. Une danse détendue et cocasse, profitant de sa légèreté pour savourer ce moment éphémère et précieux, où elle se sent libre pour la première fois, libre de vie, de mouvement, d'effort, faisant sourire les passants croisant sa route. Mais parfois tu n'es pas si sûr si c'est une feuille ou un oiseau l'imitant. Et parfois ces feuilles se soulèvent encore en bourrasque dansante, où elles s'entremêlent avec des collègues écritines. Même si ce tourbillon se mêle aux poussières, le mal ne peut plus les atteindre, étant presque poussières elles-mêmes. That's very nice. I wonder
Very
where it's
nice.
gonna go.
Very nice. Too bad no one can hear us talk. But anyway, it was beautiful. Read on, McDuff. Read on.
It's very interesting the way that I write. I mean, I should start looking for a community of writers, just because I would like to pick their brain and ask them what's their process. I do have some those master classes, you know, that they have online. A bunch of different people teach you, and one of the writers, I forgot his name, his process is just go in front of a white page and write every day. Anything. It can be bad, it can be good. And I don't know. I definitely don't do that. It comes to me. It's not like I'm trying to make a composition. Like I know some people do, for example, in paintings. You have an idea, you sketch it, and then you make it. This just flows through me, which is kind of magical. Talk about quantum entanglement. I think I have some of the Greek gods that go through me. Or Orphée. Alright. Let's see. So this will be the last one. And this I wrote when I was at my dad's place. Funny story. So in France we do the one movie that we have at night at 9 p.m. The 1 hour and a half movie. We used to have one advertisement in the middle. That used to drive me crazy. Crazy. And then when I first moved here, I saw the way that it's done in America. For 5 minutes of movies, then you have 10 minutes of ads. So that week I decided to turn the TV off and to write. So here we go. What if I was wandering in the wondrous roads of my mind? What if I was a color A color trapped in a tube. That tube in a box. That box awaiting someone I won't even know taking me with him to create something. How would I feel to be spread on my own on a very dry canvas? Or would I prefer risking my entity to be mixed with another color, under the wills of my owner trying something else? Knowing that if we don't please his eyes, I might end up my life in his refuse department. And what if I was a note? The very first me of a guitar string, of a beauty, hidden in a corner of a store in the deep Colorado, dreaming of someone to take me and play something at last. How would it feel to vibrate in waves through air around me? Create melodies along the cadence of his heart. And what if I was the wind? The never-ending breeze traveling around the world, unable to ever stop to look at all its beauty along the way. And what if I was a dream, or a smile, or the rain, sweetly falling on your forehead? What if? Wake up. Shh.
Beauty. Very nice.
Ta-da!
Beauty, 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 beauty. Very beautiful. Loved it. You
So
can't
that
hear
would
me,
be it
but
for
I loved it.
today.
Very
Let me see,
cool.
do I still have you?
You still have us.
Yes, he's here. All right.
Very
Well,
good,
I
very
guess
good.
you.
Should I
Love it.
back to faces this week? Haha.
All right,
I'll
my
make
dear.
sure for next week that I figure out where's this ring coming from so that we don't get interrupted. I'm so sorry. Third
No
time's
worries.
the charm. This was
There-
two, strike two. So
Number 3.
by next week,
All right.
no mas.
We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, my dear.